Welcome, welcome to On the Road with Location Indie. I am Location Indie Ambassador Mellissa, and today we are going to be talking all about Argentina, Antarctica, and the like. Super excited to be talking with John McKenzie. He is joining us, will be joining us momentarily from down south. This is On the Road. This is a live interview series where we talk to, there he is. We talk to location independent folks, travelers, folks who are living the LI life. We're going to be talking all things location independence, digital nomad, how you can get prepared and leave your 9 to 5 so that you can live the same lifestyle. John has just joined us, so we are going to invite him in to chat with us. We are going to, you know how this goes. We're doing the best we can over here. Well, it says I could invite him. John, let's see if we can get this figured out. I need you to pop back in here so that, or maybe you could request to join. Let's see what we can do. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for popping in here with us. See what we got going on. All right, we're going to keep trying because you know what? That's the thing about live is that you just do the best you can and everybody just, well, John, where are you, buddy? You're there. I see you. Interesting. Is there an option for you to request to join live here with me? What do you think? Let's see if I go here. I have no request. See if you can do that. Because when I request you, it says that I cannot invite you. So I just want you all to know that as an entrepreneur, you're going to have to do things like this. You're going to have to adjust. You're going to have to adapt. And that means not all things are going to go as planned when you hop on a live or when you're doing a video or when you're working with people. And so we just sort of adapt and make sure. Now, Janessa has joined. Hello, Janessa. Hi, Paul. Hey, Ted. We have some folks here. Nope. John, it says I still cannot invite you. So I'm curious if you maybe are on a private, if your account is private. I see you there. Perhaps we can invite on Mark's account. So John is currently in Argentina, hey friends, is currently down in Argentina. He just was on an epic trip to Antarctica. Yeah, you're not getting any messages. I can't actually invite you. There is an option to request. John, there's an option to request to join, which you can do on your page. See if that will work. So John just finished his epic trip to Antarctica, which was on his bucket list, which was super cool for him to be able to accomplish that. He has been location independent since April of last year. It's almost a year now, which is super exciting for him. He has been all over the place. We are going to be talking to him momentarily. He's currently down in Argentina. They just returned from Uruguay and are just traveling all over the world. So we're just waiting for him to be able to pop on and so that we can chat with him. I still cannot invite you. John, can you hop over to Mark's account perhaps? We can do it that way. So sometimes, yep, thank you, Polly. The request to join is at the beginning of the chat. If you pop all the way back up, you can request that. But for whatever reason, sometimes Instagram is tricky, and I just want you all to know this. So as entrepreneurs, as you're trying to work on this, hey, Kristen, good to see you. Chris, thank you for joining. We are currently waiting for, there he is. And there he is. We have successfully on his way. I see you. Accept. Oh, hey.
Okay.
We have made it. We made it. Hey, John.
So, sorry, apparently it can't work on my computer. So this is the problem. I'm sitting there on my laptop and I'm like, nothing is working. So
Uh-huh.
I tried on my phone and here we are. So let me try to get a headphones because I did not plan to hold the phone.
That's all right.
Uh,
I just want to say, and I think this is actually a really important lesson right now at this very moment for being location independent, is that when you're on the road, when you're traveling, when you're a digital nomad and doing all of this stuff as an entrepreneur and you're trying to get all the things, this is going to happen. And this is why we adapt. This is why we uh, try every single possible option. This is why we just sort of make it okay, right? We can't be perfect. We just sort of do what we can and then we get the final results. And here we are. And there you
uh,
are. Look at you. Oh my goodness. Hello, friend.
it's made it to my own
You,
thing. Hey, if it wasn't obvious, I'm really not tech savvy. Geez, surprise. I just randomly push buttons on Facebook and Instagram, and sometimes it works, and as you can see, sometimes it doesn't. But hey,
hey, I,
it's part of life.
it is part of life. And I'm so glad that you're here, though. So, but again, as I was just saying, that's also part of learning about being a digital nomad, is learning all of those things as we go. And now, you know what? Next time I have you on live, you will know to use your phone and to press the button and have your earbuds ready. Like it's just the way that it is. I'm so happy you're here. And I started off talking about how it's almost been a year, John.
Yes, I can't believe it.
Oh,
It's like yeah, just a few weeks, and it'll be my 1 year anniversary of leaving the job, which in a way seems like I've never had that life in a way. It's just it's
uh-huh.
strange how time moves in the past year. There's just been so many things that have happened and that I've done and that I've thought about and changed. And yeah, it's uh,
I
crazy.
actually just went back. I'm sorry I had to tell you, but I was just creeping on your Facebook. I was creeping, and there's a lot of stuff. So if you want good images, talk to John. Like he's been everywhere. It seems like. But I was creeping on your Facebook to find that date, and it says April 2022. You left your job, and I remember having conversations with you before that, or as part of our LI community. And you're like, I'm leaving. I'm doing it. I'm escaping. I'm leaving my 9 to 5, and we're like, yeah, okay, great, really excited for you. And then you did it. And what did it take, like in the mental capacity or the planning, in order to make that happen? Because that's not just a
Yeah.
small thing.
Well, I'll say there's a lot of things. I've been kind of involved with this community for a little while, and I probably would have been quitting sooner, possibly, than the pandemic happened. But at the same time, the pandemic actually kind of provided even more of a kind of push to get me to think bigger, and that I don't want to sit in an office. I mean, I just turned 50 in November. And, as that was looming and coming forward, it was just like, I've had a good life. I can't complain too much. My job hasn't, but like there's more out there and there's more I want to do and I don't want to settle. I think there was a time that I was willing to settle or thought, oh, I guess I have to settle. But then starting to meet people who actually had a lifestyle that they are designing and just going to different conferences and events and finding there's just so many different ways to live and to be and to look for new opportunities and discover your purpose and all of these things that yeah, I mean that's kind of how it started the ball rolling. I'm a little slow moving sometimes, but I think everything's kind of lined up the way it was supposed to, and that extra time allowed me to save more money to be able to quit maybe sooner than I would have otherwise. I could have seen myself calculating it out to a certain amount, and really it was Camp Indie, the commitment to, do something big. And I just kind of randomly almost said, oh, I want to quit my job by April 1st. And so that gave me the time to kind of mentally work through that commitment. And I think sometimes once I finally actually set my mind to something like that, I kind of go full steam ahead, because it's clearly, this is a long time coming. So the motivation and all of it started kind of flooding down, and I was able to kind of plan backwards, which, was enough time for me to rationally think through, what do I need to do and how can I do this? And so
Well, Polly just said, I am so inspired right now, and I am with him. You were talking about all that. It just gave me all the feels. Like, I was like, that is exactly why this community exists, and why we're really trying to promote the work of our members and what they're doing to inspire others, because that was like the most, if I could just grab that, and I may actually go and transcribe it, if I could just grab that and share with everybody in the world, I think that would be, was so inspirational, motivational right there. So thank you very much, and we're done. No, I'm joking. I am joking. So you have been, hey, Billy Michaels. He's here. He says hello. I don't know. Can you see all that, John? Can you see all the
I'm
chat
seeing
there?
some of it, but I'm trying not to
It's quite all right.
read it.
Don't worry. I
Because then
got you
I'll
covered.
hopefully I can read it later and see all this. But yeah,
April Fools has
did
to be
see
the
the April
best day to quit for real.
there was a little bit of auspicious planning in that. I kind of felt like it was a bit of a, I'm not going to be the fool anymore. So April Fool's on you, workplace. So
That is so good. So good. Tell me, John, how many places have you been in the past year since you quit your 9 to 5?
Okay, so let's see. I'm just going to try to throw them out. So in the U.S., Tennessee, Arkansas, Missouri, Kansas, Mississippi, the Carolinas, Oregon, I'm sure New York, Connecticut. Wow. I think that Florida. See, it's kind of
There's
like
been a few.
there have been several events that were happening, so I went to those, and then visiting family in Kansas and stuff. So and then internationally, I went on my first post-COVID first trip since COVID to Armenia, and then the Republic of Georgia in the fall, and then earlier this year, I can say that now it's been almost a month. I was in Antarctica and in Argentina now, and a couple other places, Uruguay, and then part of the Antarctica trip was South Georgia. It's not part of the U.S. It's a separate territory of the United Kingdom, and it is amazing. And then Islas Malvinas for Spanish-speaking Argentinian friends. The Falkland Islands is the official British name. Controversy. Don't want to get messed up here.
Right. Got to be careful here.
Anyway, I went there. My passport stamp says that. So anyway, that's and
so
I'm sure I'm missing a few.
You may be, but I feel like you're always traveling, which is the beautiful thing, because you have the opportunity to do that. You are building a business and you're also traveling. But I will dare say that I think a lot of people who are on here now currently, and I want to know about Antarctica, and how did you decide that? How did you even get prepared? How does one even prepare themselves to go down that far south?
Well, I mean, now that I've been there, it's really, like, mentally you can get so far, but nothing compares to having the experience of seeing that and being there. I've traveled a lot, but this is definitely the trip of the lifetime. I feel like maybe going to space and seeing the Earth from there might be the next level, but this was something when I had kind of started planning to visit all the continents and major world, like, geographical areas, probably in the early 2010s. And so I kind of had this idea of Antarctica 2020, because it sounded like a good, campaign slogan for myself to get there. And it was far enough in the future that it sounded cool. And of course, that wouldn't have happened. I met several people on the trip that had booked their trip for that year, and but anyway, yeah. So I kind of thought about it, but then started researching it really just early this past year. Yeah, just to see like, okay, I can do this now. So let me see how it works. And I kind of did plan a little bit into like the budget because it's not a cheap trip. No matter how you slice it, it's pricey. And I at first thought I was just going to go down there and see if I can get a last minute cheap deal. And then I kind of went completely the opposite end and decided that, that might not be the full experience. I wanted to go to the other islands because I'd heard they're really, really good and they're different. And so I kind of upped the budget. I found a friend who actually was on sabbatical and wanted to go. So we, it helped split some costs. And I found a Facebook group and started asking questions. They had a questionnaire you could fill out. And I got paired with a polar agent, I guess is the term.
A polar agent.
I just started getting, giving criteria and then a bunch of different options. And then some of them were sold out by the time we got back and said, okay, we're ready for this one. Oh, that's sold out. So we had to keep going. But yeah, I ended up getting this one that, so the original was supposed to go to the Antarctic Circle, but then we got a message saying the ship wouldn't be built in time. So, and this is because of a number of factors relating to pandemic, supply chain shortage, Croatia, Ukraine, China. I mean, it was crazy. So, and I heard more about it on the ship. So, but it all worked out because this ship was amazing. Ocean Wide was really, really good. They were probably in the, if you had to rank maybe the cheaper ones, not the cheapest, but kind of in that category. But really what they don't have necessarily, like there's no gym on the ship, there's no swimming pool, but like I'm not going to Antarctica to swim in a swimming pool.
To go to the gym.
So, I mean, it was actually really good though. They had a really good service, the lectures and the education component. It was kind of like a combination of adventure trip, college, and a conference together. It was really cool.
That is so cool.
And of course, I'm such a nerd. I went to every single lecture. I didn't miss one. I took notes. We had a trivia night. My team won.
You won? Of course you did.
Yes.
Of course you did.
Yeah. I also won the guessing game of when are we going to see the first iceberg, and we had to put latitude and longitude. And I felt very compelled that I needed, because I have a degree in geography that I haven't officially used, and I was like, okay, we're gonna summon the knowledge and yeah. So
yay! I do want to,
but
I do just want to say very quickly, if anybody ever wants to win trivia and you're with John, be on his team. He knows everything, every oddity, every curiosity, and all the things that we don't know. He knows. Plus some, I would say. Plus some. Sorry, I just wanted to say that. What was your favorite thing that you did, let me see. What was your favorite thing that you saw on that trip?
Oof. It's tough. I'm going to say two because it's really hard. But
okay.
I think that the moment of finally like getting there and seeing the icebergs and chunks of ice floating in the bay, and then touching the land and just looking around and being like, oh my God, I can't believe I actually did this and I'm here, and just super incredible. And then going to South Georgia in particular and seeing the penguins. Like imagine like the biggest rock concert you can imagine from the stage point of view, seeing all the heads in the crowd. Basically that, but with penguins. Like looking at
something like
penguins
million
everywhere. I mean, no, I think it was several 100,000 in this particular colony, but there were several colonies around. I mean, as far as you can see,
penguins.
Yeah, and yes, you can never get too many pictures of penguins because they're just they're just adorable. And
Or
we
their
saw
babies?
7 different kinds. There were some babies. There were some. Most of them were young, not like super tiny. We saw one sitting on an egg, but most of them that had already happened. The egg stage was in like earlier in the summer because it's summer
Mm-hmm,
here
mm-hmm.
or
Yes, true.
there. So yeah, no, I mean, so many different things. We had some really good weather, which was very rare. Sometimes the ships can't, you can't choose where you're going. So that's the other thing about Antarctica is, you have these cruise ship, expedition ships, I should say, and they have an itinerary, which is the goal. But,
Right.
and I think this is also a thing that really struck all of us is that, ultimately nature's in control.
Right.
We exist here, but we're part of the whole thing. And I think that was another aspect of this trip that really, maybe I wasn't prepared for. I just was like, oh, I'm going to travel, I'm going to see cool things. But it was making us feel like we're not bystanders in our own planet. We are part of the whole ecosystem down to the plankton, to everything. And we kind of lived that during this
Mm-hmm.
expedition. So that was amazing. So, but yeah, no, everything about it was awesome. And yeah, now I want to go to the Arctic, and of course I want to go back because every trip is different. Because you can never know when they're gonna, go to maybe a different island because they can't reach it because of the wind or something
Mm-hmm.
like that. So yeah, but
So just to help people understand, how many islands technically make up Antarctica?
oh
Antarctica.
well, so Antarctica is yeah, it's a little complicated because there's the continent, which is
Mm-hmm.
the driest, the windiest, and yeah, the most remote of
Right.
all of them. And most of it is snow and ice covered. If you were to melt all of that, I think technically the peninsula would become its own island. But because it's permanent ice, that's not going to happen. I mean, at
Mm-hmm.
least not within our lifetime.
Not in our lifetime, right?
But the peninsula, which is where we landed, because to go to like you'd have to fly to the South Pole, and that would be $50,000, and I'm not quite there yet. So, and
No, none of us have that at the moment.
it's a big place, so just getting around is really, and the ship can only go so far. But to try to estimate, I mean, really, there's thousands and thousands of
Thousands of them.
islands just dotting the coast of the peninsula. And then there's islands that are part of under the ice, and so you wouldn't know they're islands, but they're there, but we can't really
Everywhere.
access those. But yeah, there were quite a few. And then there's icebergs, which are not obviously islands, but they are, some are quite big, and penguins and seals get on top of them and kind of hang out. So you're passing through this water with all this blue colored ice that's been around for thousands of years.
Oh my
Just
God.
incredible. Yeah. They actually grabbed a piece out of the water and we got to hold it. And it's like, yeah,
Talk
this ice will be
about like
around for,
mortality.
yeah, I
Yeah,
know. But
that's amazing.
yeah, lots of islands. And yeah, no beach, not beach
No
islands.
beach to be
They're going
seen.
to
No
be
beach to be seen.
rocky and but yeah.
Ted has a
Uh,
question. He asks if it's easy to get seasick.
well, that's a very hard question to answer because I think it's random. I mean, I'm from Kansas originally. There's no sea anywhere near. So I was thinking, okay, maybe I'm not used to it. No, I was fine. I did wear some motion sickness bands and I took
Yep.
some Bonine.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like I don't even know if I needed to. Other people that had traveled before on ships and all of this, they got sick. But we also lucked out. We didn't have so the Drake Passage, which is where I sailed from the southern tip of South America to our first stop in Antarctica. You have to cross the Drake Passage, which is notorious for being some of the most rough waters in the world,
Mm-hmm.
just because it's where a lot of different currents and tectonic plates and all of this stuff converge. But
Come through, yeah.
but we didn't have too bad of a ride. We lucked out with the weather on that. On the way from, we kind of skirted it and had a few days where it was a little rough. Holding on, like walking and getting around the ship, you're like holding on to the rails. And
Oh, there's your answer, Ted. There's
but
your answer.
but yeah, if you're prone to motion sickness, then you're probably going to get seasick. But if you're
Yeah.
not, I'd still take some precautions, because you just don't know what it's going to be like until you hit the water, and then it's over.
Yeah. I get seasick very, very easily. I get motion sickness very easily. I can make myself sick going onto an on-ramp. Just so but it's sort of like, well, a little seasickness versus seeing this
Exactly.
amazing thing that not that many people are going to see. I think I would definitely choose that for sure. Right now, you are currently in Argentina. You were in Uruguay. Before that, you've sort of been traveling around. Any other places that you plan to go in South America while you're there?
No, right now we're actually going to head back on Monday. Wah, wah. But
Well,
I really like it here. It's just great. It's summer. It's been a little warm, but yeah, mainly because I just really enjoy Buenos Aires and this neighborhood. I think I could stay here for months just exploring different parts of Buenos Aires. And Uruguay was absolutely phenomenal. One of those countries that you don't hear too much about. That didn't really have. I didn't have an image in my mind other than, well, it's a quick ferry ride across from Buenos Aires, so why not? And we were there for 10 days, and I will say sunsets. If you're a sunset fan, go to Uruguay. If you like beaches that don't have that many people on them, go to Uruguay. And actually, March is a good time because it's kind of their. So this is the equivalent to the North American kind of Labor Day time, because the kids go back to school at the beginning of March. So all of the beaches kind of start to get a little less
summer.
crowded, and it's not as hot normally. But yeah, really, really good beaches, and the people are everybody's just so laid back. It's kind of like, I feel like Uruguay just lets the world spin, and they just sit back and enjoy their sunsets and the beach, and I like that.
I love that. I love that. When my husband and I were traveling, when we did our year-long trek, we hooked up with some Uruguayans, and they were just like, hey, we're just kind of hanging out. We're gonna go surf, and they were just like the coolest sort of laid-back folks. And I always imagined that Uruguay was probably very similar to that. Their personalities. Sure. So I'm glad to hear that. Now, John, I think that one of the things that I really want to know about is you have, and we're going to totally switch gears here, you have this absolute obsession with post offices, and I think it's very cool because you also talk about post offices, curiosities, and things that you can